They actually in Cannes, they actually recommended that you do a romantic
They
comedy.
they recommended worse. Actually, I'm making him look much better right now. They recommended we do Sharknado because Sharknado makes money, you know?
Yeah.
Like, why don't you do these like cheap like thrills that, you know, everybody loves to watch and they're nonsensical, like ridiculous, but they make money. And we were so disillusioned after coming back to LA. We were like, what do we do? Do we give them what they want? Like, it's easy for us, let's try it. And we did.
Okay, so we're back in LA with Nerdopolitan. We have special guests, Vesper Egon, Steve Abagon, and Jonathan Burkes. Today, we're going to talk about their film, or a film they were involved with, especially Vesper. She's actress, director, and writer of the film, Whenever I'm Alone with You. And they participated with the score of the film with their band called Petite Mort. So it's going to be an interesting conversation of, you know, doing a artistic art house film on a shoestring budget and making the music for this interesting film. It was nominated for many things in the Girona Film Festival.
Oh my God, it's actually nominated in a lot of festivals and won a lot of awards in a lot of festivals.
Okay, that's great.
Which was a very humbling experience for me because I totally didn't expect any of that. And I'm super proud and super excited for what's to come. But I literally kissed the ground that I walk on right now because I'm so happy and so it was very unexpected to receive such.
Is this your first feature film?
Yes.
As a director and actress, or you've acted in other things before? Right?
I've acted in other films before, but this is the first project of my own that I
wrote, directed, starred.
It is my baby, yes, so. It is, and it's also a very personal project too. You know, it's my life and love story as well.
Well, it's a beautiful baby. Congratulations.
Thank you. So you like the film?
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah, good. Definitely. I enjoyed it. I saw it with my brother, with Carlos.
Nice.
And we saw lots of references that I enjoyed also, like French New Wave. You mentioned Leos Carax while we were mingling before the interview.
Yes.
And many other references, like Godard.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell. I recommend the film. Where can people watch it?
Well, right now it's touring the festivals, and we are trying to organize something in LA soon, whether it be through a festival or our own screening. I'm hoping it's going to be through a festival. We applied to so many, and it's a process, but you will definitely be invited, and hopefully we'll find a great venue for it because a lot of people are interested in seeing it.
So let's talk about the Girona Film Festival, because you were nominated and won Best Lead Actress,
Mm-hmm.
and you got an honorable mention, you guys, for the score.
Yes.
Which is amazing.
It is absolutely amazing. Because that festival had quite a competition. There were a lot of people that had a greater budget than ours, in every sense, and just to be amongst the winners is absolutely amazing. And I want to thank Johnny and Steve for participating and making this possible, because without them, like, you know, so it would have been a completely different, you know, experience. So you guys have done a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
The music's great. So how'd you guys meet, and how'd you guys started to collaborate for making the score of this film?
Johnny and we go way back. Steve doesn't remember meeting me.
I was done then too.
Johnny and we met many moons ago. Let's not talk about yours.
Okay.
But
leave that as a...
he's my first American friend, actually. And I came here as a refugee, and I was at the college, and he basically won me over despite of me. I was at the time very depressed and kind of like I didn't want to meet people, and I just wanted to, like I mean, I've lived through the war, I came here as a refugee, and I was not really in the mood to, mingle or meet anybody. I just wanted to stay in my own wallowing depressive stage. And then Johnny was like happy-go-lucky and like determined to win me over to like become my friend. And the first thing that I remember about him, I mean, he was a wonderful human, but he is a musician first and foremost, and that was always part of his identity, and that carried on for like decades now.
So let's hear it from Johnny. How'd you manage to get Vesper out of her shell?
I can't even believe it was a long time ago. I think, I come from a family of radicals and people who were, during times of struggle, demonstrating against, the powers that be. And my grandmother was heavily involved in civil rights. And I think when I met Vesper, she had such a kind of passionate view of the world, and especially coming from, her situation,
from
had
war.
A very different view of America,
Yeah.
which was kind of the view that I kind of was raised on, seeing a lot of people in America kind of have one view,
Yeah.
while people from outside the country kind of see, multiple perspectives and multiple angles. And I kind of grew up with that perspective of it. And it was refreshing to meet someone, out of college who kind of was calling out all the kind of
All the BS.
all the BS, and it was refreshing. So even though, she was a bit angry,
I was a lot angry, and I'm still angry actually.
Yeah.
But it's good to be angry.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a person to kind of channel things that we feel, and anger is one of the most beautiful gifts that you can have to create art, because can be very motivating.
Well, anger is connected to sadness.
Right.
Actually, it means that you're deeply sad about the state of the affairs or anything in life, really. And
but you can wallow, or you can get passionate and start talking
Yes.
about things and having conversations.
creative or do something about it. Yeah, proactive.
So I think that was kind of what drew me to Vajrana, or Vesper.
So let's talk about art and music and film as a form of therapy for the stuff that you might go through in life.
Yeah.
Well, reconnected during the pandemic, actually. So I think we kind of helped each other that way.
Yeah.
When this started, you were searching for an outlet for your breakup.
Yeah.
And I was still going through my breakup with Guillaume. And
we were both lamenting.
yes, but also we always wanted an opportunity to work together.
Yeah.
And
we did a little bit when we met.
A little bit, yes. Yes. But not enough. And you kind of like, you wanted to encourage me to form a band at some point and whatever. And I never really took you up on it. I don't know why. But during the pandemic, we reconnected, and it felt right. It finally felt like we could actually explore this. And we did. It was mostly, I think you kind of jumped on my wagon, and we were channeling our own grief through this. And we didn't know where it was going to take us. There was no real, like, how would you say that?
Like a path, like a...
Yes, exactly. It was just kind of like we just wanted to get all of
we
this
were just
out.
get it all, create music to feel better, and we started creating all these songs and doing, getting in the studio, and I was recording her vocals and, manipulating them with effects, and she was writing lyrics, and we were playing with out-of-tune pianos and strange percussion instruments and sampling weird sounds. And we started kind of meeting once a week. And as time went on, we started to amass like a few song ideas. And I think throughout the process, I even asked her, I was like, so whatever happened to the movie? that you were doing. Like,
Yeah.
what's going on with that? You know what I mean? Because I remember, and
I
she,
was juggling. I was juggling both at the time
Yeah.
because I was doing this for my own sanity, basically. It was a form of therapy, and then I was also trying to remotely edit the movie with Guillaume because we shot it right up before the pandemic. Then the pandemic hit, and everything was obviously aborted. And Guillaume was working on it on his own. And I would jump in from time to time, but also like our relationship was, rocky at the time. Like we tried to remain friends, and then we couldn't, and then we realized that this movie is a priority, so we have to finish it, and then we managed through it all and through this project as well, like to kind of
I seem to remember
become
they had
friends
some.
again.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so to put our viewers and listeners in context, you co-directed the film with Guillaume Campanacci,
Guillaume Campanacci, yes.
and he also acts in the movie.
Yes.
And
as
the
well
movie-
as his entire family.
And his family, they're great. Everybody's great, and it's also autobiographical, right? It's almost like you mentioned that could be like kind of like a documentary.
It is, yes. There are elements of that, and some of it is invented for entertainment purposes, but there's a lot of us in the movie. There's a lot of our relationship, real life, intimate relationship, and a beautiful love story that we actually lived day to day. It was almost like the world that you create for yourself. It's a fantasy-like world. And we tried to capture all of that. We did have a script, but
How did you guys manage to write the script? Like, do you say, or how do you come to the conclusion that you want to tell that story? Did you say, okay, this story's pretty cool, how we met, and let's go to writing it, or how did you guys get to that idea?
We do love ourselves a lot, and we like to expose ourselves a lot, but we didn't arrive to that from that angle at all. It was actually, we wrote a really serious drama before this, and we went to Cannes Film Festival to find producers for it. And we failed miserably because everybody loved the script. Everybody loved the idea, but they, for many reasons, they rejected it. And one was because it was a drama and it doesn't bring any money. Second reason is because we didn't have any names attached. And everyone was like, yeah, it's a great story, but why don't you think about a romantic comedy instead? Because you guys are a real life couple and this sells. It's very cheap to make. And we were like, wow, we are at the Cannes Film Festival. This is the mecca of the French New Wave, like real cinema. And people are rejecting us on these bases. It's like, where else would you turn?
Right. They actually, in Cannes, they actually recommended that you do a romantic
They
comedy.
they recommended worse, actually. I'm making him look much better right now. They recommended we do Sharknado because Sharknado makes money,
Yeah.
Like, why don't you do these like cheap like thrills that, everybody loves to watch, and they're nonsensical, like ridiculous, but they make money. And we were so disillusioned after coming back to LA. We were like, what do we do? Do we give them what they want? Like, it's easy for us. Let's try it. And we did. And we tried to give them a romantic comedy in the classical sense. And we failed miserably many times because we're people that are drawn to different things that are like darker and more serious and more cerebral. And we were like, this is just not us. So what do we do? Let's stick to the theme, and maybe we just do a different approach. We do it in a different style, and that's what we did. We kind of said this is going to be the anti-romantic comedy, romantic comedy. So it's sort of like a painting of Magritte that says this is not the pipe, and it's clearly like there's a pipe there. So this is what we were channeling throughout the movie, and then we started to have fun, and we were like, okay, this is actually cool. We can do something with this.
You started experimenting.
Absolutely.
Like in the same way, like filmmakers from the 60s were experimenting.
Yes. Well, I mean, we both, the way we met, we kind of bonded immediately over Godard and Truffaut and the French New Wave and Varda. And so we wanted to channel that, obviously, into it, but we also wanted to have a little bit of us, like a little bit of our
It low-key
soul.
almost has like this dark humor, kind of like Harold
It does.
and Maude.
Thank you.
You
That's
know what I
like the
mean?
greatest
Like-
compliment that you can give me.
Because it's so dry up front, but you're like, oh my god, there's so much depth to how
I
like,
love
you-
Ashby. He's
Yeah,
one of my
yeah.
heroes. So like, I'll take this compliment to my grave.
I like that you do have some dark humor, but you also have like some wholesome humor, like because of the family part, the family, like the Campanacci family.
Yeah.
They play themselves. Almost everybody plays themselves,
Everybody plays themselves.
except for Tatiana.
Tatiana plays
Herself. Oh, she plays herself? Okay.
Yes. I mean, Tatiana wasn't even part of the movie originally. When we wrote the script, we had in mind originally Guillaume's ex. There was a role for her, and there was a role for
Was she going
my
to act?
ex.
Was she going to act, or were they going to act? In the movie?
Not the real people.
Not the real people.
But we actually had auditions and for those roles, and we realized at some point that we were not going to be able to use them because we didn't have the budget for them. So then we came up with the idea of never showing them in the movie, which worked
is
out
great.
beautifully
Yeah, it
in
worked
the
out-
film. Absolutely, it was. I almost shouldn't have disclosed this.
No, it's great. I mean, you guys still have to watch it. Spoilers. But, however, we should talk about it because I think it's like very ingenious the way you solve.
I know, that's why I shouldn't have mentioned it.
Why? I mean, it's great. I mean, too
Because
bad.
we arrived to it like as a happy accident, and it wasn't really intentional at first.
Well, the one of the things like doing a budget film, a low budget film, is like overcoming the obstacles and doing
And
it-
becoming more creative.
and making the obstacles in your making them work in your favor.
Exactly.
So the movie has lots of things that work in your favor because of that.
Yes. Yes.
And
And
it turns it into a unique film.
I will always, I would recommend to anybody who, like, especially young people that are starting out and want to take up film or any project, music, it doesn't matter. Don't be discouraged with the lack of resources. Actually, really go for it despite of that, because you will end up creating something amazing in the process, something beautiful and something
Creative
that you
problem
would, yes, yes.
That's it. Creative problem solving. So Steve, how do you guys meet with Jonathan?
Well, he's like my soulmate, but he doesn't realize it.
Okay. Well, now everybody knows. So that's great.
As long as I've been playing music, I've known this gentleman, and he's been my right-hand man. So whatever projects either of us in, we're always
We've
had
known each
this-
other since high school.
Yeah, we always have this need of including each
Yeah,
other
like
in
4 years.
and stuff. So
4 years ago.
Yeah, 4 years ago.
That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So you guys are finishing college now, huh?
yeah.
All of us are.
That's great. So this is a great movie for college students because it'll
Yeah.
encourage them.
but like a lot of people in the pandemic, it's like everybody was going stir crazy, but so this kind of situation where lament breeds community, and when you're also in a lockdown, you're like, what the fuck are we gonna do with all this energy? And so when I heard that these cats were putting together stuff that already spoke volumes to me, I was like, oh, this stuff is all up. And the thing is, I think in that time it was so conducive to be working in a sort of like from home production sense, and so all the stuff that they were churning out was really cool to get an earful and be a part of. I was like, I think there could be some stuff here and there, but I've known her just almost about as long as
Yes,
I've known him.
yes, yes.
It's just my memory isn't as good.
10
Or
years.
I'm not
Yeah.
as memorable, which is impossible.
10 years.
Exactly. Yeah, a decade.
I mean,
A
I met
decade.
you. I have about a decade on you guys. Our relationship.
I thought we had agreed no years, huh?
Well, no dates.
Vaguely.
Dates.
No
Vaguely.
dates.
Vaguely. Okay. Well,
The years are changed to protect the innocent.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
what they both forgot to say is that they're immensely talented people. Absolutely, like the most amazing people to work with, to collaborate. They're just very special.
Committed.
That's great. That's the most important thing. So let's go back a little bit.
To Tatiana,
rewind.
we never finished that.
Oh, okay. So Tatiana Gomez. That's how.
That's how we
met.
actually came.
That's how we
to
met.
Be.
Thank
She
you,
bring her
Tatiana.
own yoga gear
I'm sure that she
for,
did.
for that scene. So
No, actually, no. But she was not in that scene.
oh, she was.
No, that's no. Yoga Gear is Guillaume's ex, which you never see her. But that's no. Tatiana is the one that pours milk on herself.
That's right.
That sings like that song, that infamous
yeah.
song.
She always has like a wild presence.
Tatiana is one of the most unique humans that you will ever meet, which is a compliment, a huge compliment. She is absolutely authentic, as authentic as you can be. I love her dearly. She's immensely talented, and I thank her this way for everything. She was not originally part of the movie. She had an amazing audition, and Guillaume and I watched it. It was the wildest thing ever, absolutely. And we were like, we have to create space for this.
We have to put her in the movie.
This amazing woman. We have to put her in the movie. I don't know how. I have no idea how she's gonna fit, but she's gonna fit somehow. And she was a beautiful addition. And
that's where you met
thank
Tatiana
Tati.
in her audition.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
great, and it's great that you're friends now after the movie.
Yes, because I'm not friends with many of the people after the movie, so she's like one of them, I think. I really, honestly, actually, this is not a diss of any kind. It's just that I really haven't stayed in touch with any of the crew members except for her and cast members. I mean, obviously, Guillaume's family, it's a different thing, but yeah.
You should invite her to LA.
I did, and I'm sure she's gonna come at some point.
Yeah, she'll
You'll
come.
meet her.
Tatiana.
You'll meet Tatiana. You have to meet Tatiana.
So, working with the actual family of the Campanacci family, how did that work? Like, how were you directing their presence in the film?
I actually wasn't directing them at all. Like, they knew loosely what they were supposed to do, and Guillaume was very good at like coordinating all of that. Obviously, he had
the
a
connection.
Much more,
He had the connection
intimate
through the family,
relationship,
so
but
it was
I
easier for
love
him.
his family.
It's all who you know.
They were right. They were, especially his dad is a natural. He loves the camera. He loves the spotlight.
The girl
he's
too.
a
The girl-
natural entertainer. Oh, the girl.
The girl
is,
had some-
the girl is the love of my life. Naomi is his niece, and she is the most wonderful.
She
being
was
ever.
a scene stealer at times.
For sure.
Absolutely.
She was really funny.
And that was the idea, She
Yeah.
stole my heart from the moment that she was born, but she is and even now, like I met her after some years at the festival in Germany, and our reunion was very heartbreaking.
How old is she now?
She is, I'm gonna lie and say 6 or something like that, 6, 7. She's a beautiful young girl, and she actually remembers it, which is really weird because she was a kid. She was like a toddler, She was very young, but she remembers me, and that's very dear to me. It's very special.
So how was meeting with them at the film
It
festival?
was very emotional. It was super emotional because I consider them a part of my family, and I still consider them. And no matter what,
And now they're
I
in time.
always will.
In the movie's gonna be, whenever future generations see the movie, they're gonna be like, "Wow, this is an actual family that worked in this," and it's gonna be forever
Well,
as long as the film survives, right?
Oh, they're blowing up on IMDb right now. Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. I didn't even realize until I think the third festival that I attended that how much of ourselves we actually exposed in this film. How on which level of like intimacy we allowed it to like be. But yeah, I'm glad that it exists. It's a beautiful, beautiful film, and it captured that moment in time.
And after you finished the shooting, now with working with Jonathan and Steve, how were you preparing the music, or what emotions were you trying to show through the music that help complement the images?
Well, that's already done. So basically, Johnny and I, we did a project of our own, which was not really related to the movie. Like I didn't have a I didn't actually think that it was going to end up in the movie. It just kind of like made sense.
Well, I think
Good timing.
the story of the way it happened was we were working on our music kind of in the pandemic. I'm asking her about the movie. She goes, "We're having a hard time with this licensing thing. They can't license all these tracks. They had all this. They had all these makeshift temp tracks that were going to cost Guillaume and hers tons of cash. There
Which we didn't have.
Which they didn't have, and they were kind of at a standstill, kind of like, you know. And her and Guillaume were kind of going back and forth, but it was a slow-moving kind of interaction. You know, she'd send him a message. A week and a half later, he'd get back to her. Then, you know, it was very slow. Everything was moving really slow. So then I was thinking to myself, I asked her, I was like, why don't we just recreate some of the tracks so that you can, you know, we don't have to license.
Yeah.
So we went through the list of the tracks, and I started to, like, you know, we picked out the ones that we thought we could kind of recreate. And that's when I brought Steve in, because Steve's an incredible, not just player and writer and producer, but he knows how to take a song that he hears and create something that's similar vein, but not giving the same feeling based on understanding, you know, music theory.
You didn't just change a chord or two and then
you know, a little, you know,
I saw
like
how it was working in the film, and I was like, you know what, we can create something that could give that a similar feeling, but also usher in the beginning of the film that way.
And
too,
the most important was the opening, right?
Yeah,
the opening, which is what I kind of was like, all right, let's focus on the opening of the movie, because that's
what
really
we were missing.
That,
That's what
and
we were
well,
missing
there
as
was
well.
right.
We couldn't afford that,
Right.
and it was a crucial part of the film because it sets the tone.
But there were a
right?
bunch that were missing. But
absolutely. But that was
we
the
were like,
most
let's go with the
crucial.
opening.
Yes,
I was like, at least get the opening.
kind of like in the filmmaking process, that's another one of those happy sort of accents where similar new decisions have to be made creatively to fill it out, and it almost shaped the film in a different way. The way those other songs took place and those moments of the story, and you're like, oh my god, these characters like go through so many dimensions because the music's so different too, you know. So all of a sudden, it's made for a really creative, eclectic sound to the whole film. So
we went into the studio and retracked the opening song and tried to do some other stuff for some of the other pieces of music, but we ran into all these roadblocks, technical roadblocks. And after that, you contacted Guillaume and kind of figured out we were able to incorporate the stuff that we've been doing on the side instead of some of those other pieces of music that they had. And then Guillaume was able to license maybe one or two of them. You said he figured out.
He's still in the process of
still
that.
in the process,
yeah. Because we still have to buy them.
Right.
Like we use them, but we still have to pay for them.
Right. So we were able to kind of replace some tracks with our original tracks, you know, and then we just redid the first one, the first opening song, right?
yeah.
And it was, I mean,
Yeah, but we also used our material.
we used
for
our
all the
material,
film.
right.
This was something that you recorded before.
Yes.
Before the film.
Yeah. I mean, not before the film.
That was the
no,
stuff we were
after
working
the
on.
film, but
Yeah.
it was not intentional to be used
Yeah, we
in the
weren't-
film.
exactly.
Like we
It was
were doing our
accidental
own.
that-
Yes,
Exactly.
it just kind of
It
made
fit in.
sense.
It fit
you
in the
know,
movie.
absolutely, because
How much was already edited by the time those pieces started to come to fruition?
all of it.
All of it.
All of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So then, it was a matter
It just
of, like,
needed like a final touches,
Yeah.
but everything was already done. And in the meantime, because, you know, like I would have communication with Guillaume and then, you know, we would not talk. And so in the meantime, Guillaume kind of, when he started editing this film, which is ironic in a way, he started contacting a lot of former Yugoslavian new wave bands from the 80s and punk bands, and because he kind of knew that they were fitting and also probably cheaper than anything else that we could use. And it's interesting that he was the one actually making these connections with that I come from that region, you know, like
Yeah.
it would be natural for me to be like contacting them and whatever. But like in one of the, you know, in the film, there's this like very intimate scene, like a bathtub scene. And we talk about a lot of, it's a bonding scene. And so we had those in real life, and we would listen to these bands, you know, that I grew up with and that were very influential. And so he took notice, and he really loved them, and he thought that we could, you know, use them in the film because we have some references to them. We talk about one of my favorite bands growing up is Idoli, which the front man died about 4 or 5 years ago, and that was very, very heavy for me. And I make a reference about him in the film. I say that he's the most beautiful man alive because he was my childhood crush. And I grew up listening to them. And he, you know, for sentimental reasons, like he felt that, you know, those tracks should be included.
Yeah.
And we were very, very lucky to actually get some of them in the movie. And I'm so grateful for that because
it also makes
I
sense.
never expected that, you know, like they let us use it for free, which is unheard of, you know. So
Did they watch the movie, or did they see the movie, or
some of the band members, yes. Some of the band members, I think they're yet to see it. So yeah, I have to get back in touch with them and just like kind of do a little moment of, you know,
Gratitude.
yes, first and foremost, and also like to tell them what's happening, you know, with the movie and what's the next stages and everything.
Update.
But like, yes.
So what's the creative process? Or you guys are working together on a band called Petite Mort. That's what you're working on right now, right?
Well,
Which could be the score for another movie, a future movie, right? That you made.
I don't know. Are you guys open to like working on a movie,
Sure.
doing a soundtrack for a movie?
I have
I
some.
mean,
Like
Why
how was this experience for you?
I mean, you guys got an honorable mention, so that must be encouraging, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love making music, and you know, we've had our music on TV and film before, so we kind of, when we started working with Vedrana, our natural
Vesper.
sound, and even the stuff that's Vesper.
Okay.
When we started working with Vesper, our natural
More than
sound.
10 years and you don't know her name, Vesper.
Yeah, well, there's a story behind that. Well, you know, our natural sound that we write is very cinematic, so it just kind of went together. And
Growing up,
Yeah.
we were listening to so much different kinds of music, and I think with some of them that spoke a lot to us were soundtrack music. And since we were such indie film like watchers, like it was so natural to want to like lend itself to something,
indie.
that had a narrative, that had an interesting narrative, and was experimental in its own right. And it was like, oh well, here's another place we can outlet those inspirations in. So.
Well, there's like an indie corner right here. I have a bunch of indie films, so you guys are welcome to put music into my films also.
Yes.
Let's work on something.
man, yeah,
After
send
this,
us-
we'll
Can I
make
be an
one.
actress in your indie film?
Sure.
Awesome. Great. Deal.
If I don't have a role for you, I'll write one.
That's what we do.
That's what we
Tatiana. Think Tatiana.
do. Tatiana, Vesper. I'll write one for Tatiana also.
Good.
And so let's talk about some of your let's get to know some of your references and your inspirations, like artists in the film and also music.
Oh my
Some
God,
of
there
the-
are so many. Do you
There's
have
so many.
like
So-
3 hours?
right.
Well, it's
Oh
called
my
Nerdopolitan, so
God.
let's nerd out
Oh my
on some of
God.
these.
Okay, so the film,
Yeah, in the film, I know
Godard,
some-
obviously.
Yeah, Godard, you can tell.
but really, I always preferred Varda and Truffaut over Godard, which is like sacrilegious to say, I guess. But Leos Carax, Wong Kar-wai,
One Car Away.
oh my God, Wenders.
What about actresses?
Yeah, actresses. Like, who inspired
That's
you
interesting. That's interesting.
Or
'cause
not,
it's-
maybe not even actresses, actors in general. Like,
But okay, so this is the thing, right? I find my inspiration like not just from the movies or directors, actors, and whatever. Like, I think that as an artist, you find your inspiration everywhere. So for me, like, I found so much inspiration from poems, from paintings, from literature, obviously, even nature. You know, it's such a broad thing. You know, it doesn't just come from your profession. Like, I don't even think that as my profession. Like, I'm an artist, so I don't label myself as like an actor or director or writer, musician, blah blah blah. Like, I just kind of think that all these art forms are there for you to use, you know, as you feel like. You know, they're very interchangeable, you know. And during the pandemic, I really realized that, because I was always afraid to kind of like step into the world of painting, and I don't know why, but I was always curious about it and whatever. And then my best friend, one of the greatest artists that I know, Alan Haljevets, he kind of not just encouraged me, but he like really pushed me into like, why don't you just fucking like do this, you know, finally, like just step into it. Like, don't judge yourself, don't expect great results, just like go for it. And I did, and I discovered a completely different world. So I just think that it's good to kind of fall into things, you know.
So what was during the writing process, there's lots of poetry and lots of poetic images in the movie also. What was your creative process for creating the dialogues and the images, you know, poetry-wise?
For me, personally, my favorite is Pessoa, one of the favorites. I love J.D. Salinger as well, but Pessoa is somebody that really influenced me a lot, and I kind of carry that vibe into it, I think. Yeah.
Do you know any of Guillaume's references for maybe his take on the writing?
I don't.
What about
I know
comedic references? Like, it's a comedy, so what about comedic references?
Woody Allen in there?
No, not for him. No, for him it's more like he's a cross between Alain Delon and oh my God, what's the other guy? The French guy, the fun one.
I don't know. Romer is like. I also saw a little bit of like reference with Romer, like Eric Romer. I don't know if you're familiar with his movies.
I am familiar, but I know what you mean.
Because I felt like there's like a little bit of improv also. Like you guys did a little bit of improv in the scenes.
We did a lot of improv, and there was a lot of drinking in the movie involved as well, which kind of encouraged improv.
Yeah.
No, we were very welcoming of that, because I love happy accidents. I love working with non-actors too, because they bring so much of the unknown. You know, there's always kind of like the element of surprise that's fucking amazing and refreshing. People are not so concerned, you know, about like being actors and bringing the technique to the table. You know, it's like you can actually relax and also be surprised. You know, but that's an interesting reference that you used. We weren't thinking about that, but I can see that though. No, it was mostly like. It was very much Godard based, yes, and also like us. Because
Godard also does a little bit of that, like a little bit of improv, and he works with the happy accidents.
Oh yes, yes.
And in the music, writing the music, for example, for Steve and for Jonathan, are there any references like poems, poets, other musicians, or even films that you admire? Like the scores of the films.
Well, in terms of the theme song, there was the vibe that it established in the head of the film. It was, I mean, the music that was there before, there was like a certain feeling of a little corner of the 70s that it had that I wanted to bring out More, which had like kind of a, you know, like a Serge Gainsbourg, Ennio Morricone, Dario Argento era kind of sweet, sentimental, but almost kind of unsettling. And that's where that music ended up kind of like blooming from. And I was grabbing inspiration from that, because it's like the rest of the film takes all these interesting turns musically, and like it was neat to see that would be something that would sort of set the tone.
Well, there was a need for a bit of sentimentality.
Yeah.
You know, and especially at the beginning of it. Every
It
time
had
you
to
have
grab you from an emotional place.
absolutely,
Yeah.
but every time you have a love story involved, there has to be
It was
an
sweet and
element
innocent.
of
Yeah,
that,
for
you
sure.
know?
Yeah.
Especially because the way the movie ends, it ends in a fashion of
Spoiler.
Thelma and Louise or 400 Blows. Well, it's a freeze frame, you know, and it can mean a lot of things, you know. It can mean we end there and it's a happy ending and we forever live in this bubble, or it can mean we separate, you know, and unfortunately all great things come to an end, and you know, we just leave it open to an interpretation. But unfortunately with all love stories most of the time, and especially all great love stories, they somehow seem to come to an end at some point, you know. So we didn't anticipate that making this movie.
Yeah.
I don't think that was a conscious decision, but it was a subconscious one.
I think in terms of our inspiration when we were working on kind of the music, The Cure, Portishead, Dead Can Dance.
I can hear some of that.
Yeah.
Kills.
The
The
Kills.
Kills, yeah.
You know, Nine Inch Nails, Aphex Twin, Square Pusher,
And a lot of David Lynch as well.
David Lynch.
Because
yeah.
like
Yes.
our first song that we did together, which was still to me like the best song, the one that I love the most, because we literally did that song in, I don't know, an hour.
The
Like
Older Than Love? Was
yes,
that- yeah,
Older Than
yeah,
Love.
yeah.
It's like it's a song that just came out of us.
So
We
beautifully
didn't even
heavy.
have to talk about it. We came in, I told him the lyrics, he laid down the music
guitar.
beautifully, and I told him like the vibe that we were going for, and when he played it for me, I was just like, this is that take. We don't have to add anything. We don't ever have to play around with it. This is just perfect how it is. It almost never happens like that. These are just like, I don't know, like somebody else speaking through you, whatever it is that you believe.
Found
But
a
this is
cosmic
like one
connection.
of those, yes, this is just, and this was our first song after like, we were not even in touch for such a long time before that.
Right.
Like this is the first time of us meeting after such a long time. And we just went into the studio and this is what we did. And I was trying to channel that David Lynch vibe.
Kind of
The
like a
Twin
little bit like a
Peaks
yeah,
soundtrack.
a little bit like dark, like obscure,
Yes.
because both characters are going through like breakups and kind of like a little bit of heartbreak. Maybe they're like in a dark mood.
Both characters were very disillusioned and depressed, and each one in their own way. But also, I think my character more than his was trying to like allow the space for something else to come in and to believe in love again and to kind of inject that into somebody. And yeah.
So did when you approached Jonathan and Steve, did you tell them, okay, this is like the mind space of the character, or how
They knew. I actually invited him over to show them the movie, and we watched it before doing this with Steve. So he knew what was expected of him, like to recreate.
And you already had like some references on
Yes,
the on the soundtrack. Mm-hmm. So it
which
was
we
easy-
will
it
not
was-
speak about because
you can't.
we can't.
So it was a good starting point, just like to show the references, to get into the mood, the psychology of the characters. That's why you connected almost immediately. Like you had a cosmic connection with the first take.
I mean, it kind of already, it like all worked together just without even trying.
Yes.
Just because it,
Yes.
Vesper being a part of so many elements of the film, it just kind of assimilated kind of effortlessly, which was very.
You guys
That's
were
very
in
pleasant.
sync.
Yeah, it was very pleasant because, as you know, making these kind of things can be very hard, and when you're working with people, yeah, you know how it goes. And it was really refreshing to get in and have a plan, and just things just kind of worked out, which was.
I'm so glad that they got the recognition that they deserve at least one of the festivals, because it's, like, you go into these projects and there's no money involved, like you can't pay the people that they do this, properly. So at least this is something that is just
that's great.
Yeah,
a little,
motivation,
inspiration, exactly.
So for
and
example,
hopefully there'll be more.
There will be more, yeah, definitely. I think it was a good team up. So for example, with Steve was mentioning like Ennio Morricone. When you listen to Ennio Morricone, there's like even in any movie, you say, "Oh, that's composed by Ennio Morricone."
Oh yes.
So that's like his particular style. Although he can do like something like for Western or
spaghetti
something romantic.
Western, yes. But when you hear the romantic thing from Ennio Morricone, it's him immedely.
Yeah.
You know.
So
or spaghetti Western. For
the Fender Twin,
So he's done the composition for all types of films.
Mm-hmm.
In that sense, is there characteristics that define your style that you could say, okay, our style is like this. Our style has, I don't know, synths, guitars. The voice has to be like this. Is there like something?
Yes. There's always a mood. There's always a style.
Yeah,
like
there's got to be mood. There's definitely got to be mood.
I mean,
describe your style.
Yeah, I mean, I think the guitar playing that I played for is kind of influenced by The Cure and U2, and this kind of jangly kind of sound.
So what type of pedal do you use? Like
I don't. Well, like the pedals, I use so many pedals when I'm performing and I'm recording. But in this particular project, actually, I use mostly just plugins in the computer, just chorusing, delay, reverb. I use the reverse effect a lot. And pitching, pitch shifter. On one of the songs, I reversed her voice and created this cool kind of effect, chant effect that kind of created this atmosphere and gave a mood to the song. So we're really using the modern tools that we have at our disposal. Then Steve, when Steve went in to do his part, he actually did a more traditional production where he went into a studio. We went into the Catoy factory, which is one of the studios we work out of, and we were able to engineer the sounds, more traditionally, get really clean sounds.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. And
say it to the camera.
Thank you, Mark. We love you.
So we had a nice kind of balance of doing this modern kind of approach to the music and a traditional way of like engineering music to give kind of an all natural kind of feeling to the film and the sound, which was refreshing, I think, for us.
How was it for you, Steve?
Yeah,
did you enjoy it as much?
I think it was wonderful just getting to be a part of something that had so much spirit and heart into it. So it just seemed so natural, because by the time I came into what they were doing, there were so many beloved influences that I can automatically recognize. And so I was like, oh, okay, you guys are getting down with this stuff. All right, let's get busy. Let's get busy.
It's true. It's true.
Like,
it's like meeting of the minds, right? It just.
Did somebody say heartbreak? Hold up.
Yeah.
So you guys kind of.
I mean, who doesn't connect to that?
Yeah, heartbreak. Everybody.
Tell us about
heartbreak.
yours. Now the tables are going to turn.
In another podcast. In another podcast. Okay. Maybe
do we need another bottle?
Maybe more of these, and we'll get into heavy heartbreaks.
Yeah. So you take one.
So for whoever's filming this, another 4 hours.
Yeah.
We could talk about this all night. So let's define La Petite Mort. What are you guys expecting to do with that? Or
everything. Conquer the world.
Play some shows.
You guys have to play here. This is like the studio.
Yes.
would be
for
awesome.
other
Yes.
A little
podcasts.
show
I would
in a
love
little
that.
That would be
like
great.
that.
I would love
That'd
that.
be great.
Oh my god.
Fuck Tiny Desk.
That'd be
We
great.
got the,
Like, this is-
yeah.
yeah.
I think
would
it's
be
going to be
this-
fun for us to
Who
figure
do
out
we
how
need
we're
to
going to get
petition
the.
with to
Oh,
do
right
this?
here we have Carlos right there. He's
Hi,
already
Carlos.
he's already down for it. He's already down for it. And
Are we in?
Yeah.
We're in. We're in, guys.
Sweet.
Let's do it.
Definitely. So you guys, how long do you need to rehearse so you can get started on that?
A little bit.
Yeah,
Just like
A
a
little
what?
bit.
Couple of rehearse sessions.
couple months maybe.
A couple months.
Well, we gotta
Keep
get
us
out of
waiting for so long.
this whole December holiday thing.
Wait,
All right,
wait. He
yeah,
didn't
so-
even know that he was part of this band. So you have to give him some time to adjust.
So how many guys are in the band? Like you three guys? Do you have percussions or?
Well, we kind of like counting.
We haven't really imagined it live yet. We're still kind
Yeah.
of. I mean,
Yeah.
I have my vision of how I would like to perform what we've been creating.
Yeah.
But we haven't actually implemented it into a live setting. It's all been in the studio.
Yeah.
I do have a vision of having, it would be, it's always, less is always more in this situation in terms of a band and sort of incorporating all these musicians. And
No.
I think we're going to go more just the three of us. I mean, we'll see. But
Some
Steve is doing
synthetic
this
stuff?
really interesting
Production.
production with the computer where we're able to kind of use the computer as a beat machine.
Oh, nice.
But in
So
an
that would be the
improvisational
drums?
Yeah.
Nice.
kind of way to spin
Nice.
the beats,
Yeah.
kind of like a DJ would spin records, but actually play with the drum loops
Yeah.
to make it
Well,
more
I mean,
lively.
the Kills,
and-
the Kills have done
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
Kills have
there
done
are
that,
the two
and-
guitars basically
exactly.
and a lead.
It's all just background
Early
stuff.
Depeche Mode
But the
did
difference
Oh,
about it is
yes.
Yeah,
actually
you know, when
Yes.
you adjust like drum machines, stuff
Yes.
like that.
making it
so-
more lively, more in the moment.
I would love to go
Yeah.
more into dark wave. By
Yeah,
the way,
exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
petitioning for that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, it starts with this, a show offer and a nice space, and now we have to kind of figure
We're
it
here.
out.
We're
you know what
here.
I
Now
mean?
you have to.
Now we have to figure it out.
You have
know,
to. You have
but-
to. Don't
Did
take
you like
so-
the music? I sent you
I
the
did.
music. Yeah.
Yeah, I played it here. And I played for my brother.
Yes. Did
So
he
that's why
like it as well?
Yeah, I found it fit. It was very fitting. Well, the stuff they used for the movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I can see it in other movies. Like in. I
Thank
don't know.
you.
I can see,
That's
like, for,
that's how I'm
Yeah,
thinking
that's
about
great.
this
Yeah,
as well.
I
exactly.
can see like for
Yes.
for maybe like sci-fi.
Can we get paid for
this?
this? Can my musicians get paid for this?
Definitely, I definitely recommend you guys listen to their music. Is there anywhere you can listen to now, or are you still?
It's not really.
Do you want me to play it on my iPhone? I can
Well,
do it for you.
You can play a little. Well, I mean, so where people can listen to it, like like.
There is one song up, right, on Spotify, right?
No, we
Oh, no,
never
we-
put it
oh,
up.
we never
no.
put it up. Oh,
But I can play you a song if
We're still in
you wanna.
production and
listen
mix
to it.
too, so
It's kind of we're still trying to figure out how to get it finished, get it out there, out the door.
We will.
Yeah.
We will.
First, get the movie done, and
The movie's
Promote.
done. The
I
movie's
mean-
done. We're promoting the movie.
promoting the promoting of the movie.
Finish
done
promoting
first.
the movie.
Yeah, and then
what festivals
figure
is
that
the
out.
movie in now? Like you said, Girona, and I think you posted
we
new
won.
nomination.
We won. Best actor and best actress, and best music.
Yeah, congrats. Which
it-
festival?
Girona.
Girona.
And then there was Sao Paulo Film Festival, which we won the best film, best directing, best editing,
Amazing.
and best. Oh my God, there's a lot. There's a lot to remember.
that's a good
So
problem to
much.
have.
That's a good. Yeah, so many nominations, so many prizes. that
Best
you can-
editing, best
Best
editing, and best sound design.
Do you guys go to Sao Paulo? Or not?
No, we didn't. The problem with indie productions is that you finance everything yourself. So there are very few festivals in the world
You have to
that will
choose.
pay
ones you
for
can go.
your accommodation and your trip and whatnot. And we were very grateful that Oldenburg Film Festival, where we premiered, treated us like rock stars. I mean, that was just a 5-star treatment. They were incredible in everything. It was a different level of film festivals, period. But they're Germans and they do everything right, I guess. After that, we went to different festivals, and obviously, budgets are different. They're struggling as well. They don't know where their budgets are coming from. So we kind of have to pick and choose which festivals we'll go to because, we're financing ourselves.
Yeah.
And a lot of festivals are in Europe, which sucks for me because every time I have to fly, it's a lot of money for me to like go there and stay there and whatnot. But I have to say this, you have to be a part of the festival. It makes such a big difference. You can't just send your film to a festival.
And that go.
It's in every sense. You meet a lot of amazing people, like-minded people, artistic people that want to create amazing art with you. And you also bond with the festival crew, which is very important, not just for this project, but for projects in general in the future and whatnot. And it's really an amazing experience to be part of the festival and present there yourself. And to, of course, if you win an award, to be there and present, it's amazing. It's a really, like the first award that I won, it was the best actress at an Italian film festival, and I had just come back from Oldenburg, and it was like a matter of like a couple of days, and I was still jet lagged and whatever. And Guillaume actually called me, and he was like, "Get onto the Instagram. They're doing it live. They're gonna announce the winners and whatever." And I'm like, "We're not winning. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm jet lagged. Can I just sleep?" And he's like, "No, stay." Like, and it was in Italian. There was no translation. So I've endured like 2 hours
That's a lot of suspense.
of a lot of exactly. And I've endured 2 hours of like, all these presentations and acceptance speeches and whatever. And I'm like, and I'm texting Guillaume as I'm watching this, and I'm like, I'm going to bed. I'm tired and we're not winning and it's okay. But he has this mad belief in this film, which is amazing. And I really love that. And he's like, "No,
That's
stay
good.
until the end. You stayed this far. Please stay for another whatever."
Yeah.
And I did. And then they announced my name and I was just completely shocked. I was just in disbelief, and I was like, this is ridiculous. This is not real. And I texted Guillaume, and as I was texting him, he was texting me, and he's like, "We won, you won." Like, this is ridiculous. And it was very gratifying, but also I wish that I was there, in person. So when I was there in Girona to receive my award, it's how it's supposed to be, because you get a chance to like thank everybody that was involved in and
Plus you get to socialize, people get to meet you. And,
Absolutely.
That's
Yes.
part of
Be
making
part
films.
of the heartbeat of
Yes.
everybody else who's doing it DIY and getting that sense of morale and support that everybody are like doing the same thing of like putting it out themselves.
yeah, true.
Okay, so what about the local festivals here in LA? You guys,
Yeah, are there?
Do you know of any?
Yeah.
there's lots of them. Yeah.
Can you send me the link to those?
yeah, let's
No, I've applied to so many, especially like women in film festivals, and we're still awaiting their responses.
Okay.
So we're very open. I really want to have an LA premiere, especially
Yeah,
because
for
of the my people that were involved in that.
Yeah.
I want my friends to come. I want my family to come.
We wanna
I really
perform.
want to, exactly, and I
you-
want
where'd you
to
guys go?
celebrate
Where'd
this.
you guys go to
Ramin.
college?
Santa Monica College.
Oh yeah, that's
We can
where
have the premiere there.
started.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
No,
Yeah.
let's not.
They
have
used to
that.
have this greatest amphitheater,
Yeah,
but they got rid of it for some tech
Really?
building.
Oh.
Yeah, that would be.
No, I have a. I mean, we have
Maybe they
a
have another
friend.
building.
We have a friend.
No, well,
Would you like some more?
Sure. Thank you.
You'll see. Let's.
We have a friend who owns multiple theaters, right?
I'm good. I'm good. Oh, okay.
including the one across the
Oh, no
street.
problem. That's good. Don't worry. It's
I'm
just,
not
It's just
worried.
champagne.
We have a friend who owns multiple theaters, right? Mm-hmm. That
We'll
we
see.
could possibly utilize.
That would be awesome.
I mean,
be
he
great.
did say yes to me.
You do need like the red carpet premiere in LA.
We absolutely do, because there are a lot of there's a lot of interest. So yes.
And invite everyone. So okay, I always ask this from all my guests. I mean, you guys are definitely nerds because it's Nerdopolitan.
Yes.
All three of you are definitely very nerdy. How does it feel to be such nerds?
Amazing. But this is the thing. Like, I'm going to speak for myself, obviously. But unassuming about me is that I'm a tennis nerd. So
You're a nerd for tennis. You love you like playing tennis. Cool.
I love everything tennis. I'm a Nadal fan, a huge
Nadal?
Nadal fan. He's the greatest player ever.
What about Djokovic? I think he's
Fuck Djokovic. And I hope this makes the cut. Do not cut this out.
No, we don't cut anything.
Nadal is the greatest player of all time. Period.
All right. What about you guys? Tennis players.
I don't follow sports at all.
They
At
are
all.
nerds, though.
Yeah, we're definitely nerds in our own right.
I think our interest is what defines us. When you're heavily interested or have passion about something and go really deep into it, it automatically makes you a nerd, whatever that subject is. But in this case, music, film,
Music and film
literature.
are your passions.
yeah,
Production,
productions,
we're guitar players, and so I'm very nerdy about my bass technique that I practice, or my signal chain for my pedal board.
Yeah.
Where we can talk for hours about signal chain and a pedal
Yeah.
board.
Yeah.
The most
And
boring
yeah.
conversation
Everybody's
you've
like, what
ever
are these guys talking
heard.
about?
Yeah, it's like, do I go put the delay before the modular?
Yeah. As much as the
Blah, blah, blah.
content, the fascination of like how it gets made is also a big part of why we're into things. So
It's so deep because we're also trying to do many different things. We're live performers, we're studio musicians, we're songwriters, we're producers. So we're constantly trying to build rigs,
Tech heads,
tech
yeah.
heads that can actually accommodate all the different things that we do, instead of having to constantly get different pieces to perform a show or to go into the studio
or
and
invent
kind of,
stuff for things that you want to do that nobody has the technology to do yet. So find ways around that and make things happen.
So you're the vanguard of technology, inventing new ways of doing stuff. Do you also experiment with the?
he's the master of that. This guy is the ever
I
discoverer.
like to get Da Vinci with it a little bit here and there. So,
Okay, now that we've confirmed that you're all nerds. Who do you guys admire? For example, a bass player. Who's your
Lately I've been just on
go-to guy?
Instagram watching a bunch of Instagram bass players.
You're
and
killing
getting-
us all with all that.
I know.
You're absolutely killing us all.
I know.
Every time I go to your stories, it's that.
It's the bass different because these guys are incredible bass players, and they're not they're just sitting in their house practicing. And
But why don't you just showcase one of your own?
I'm working on it. That's why I'm getting the inspiration to get kind of my
You're
technique
fucking
up.
amazing, Johnny.
I
Just
know,
accept it.
But I mean, it's just I got to get my inspiration from these guys who are putting in the hours. I mean, that's just one way. I mean, that's just one thing. But I like the traditional great bass players like Bootsy Collins and Flea and Les Claypool and Thunder Thumbs. Larry Graham. I mean, there's so many. That inspire me.
Yeah.
The classics.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many. But I really appreciate these new guys. I know I'm killing you about it, but it's amazing because they're not stage perfect. They don't get on stage as much. They're sitting at home practicing, and they finally talk about nerdiness.
Yeah.
The nerd gets to shine. He gets to come up here and play this riff that's just insane. The guy maybe has never seen a crowd in his life, but he can play almost as good as some of the greatest bass players that have ever lived. And I'm fascinated with that whole world because there's so much to kind of get inspiration from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bedroom warriors are definitely controlling the
Oh,
world now
yes.
with
Yes.
content.
Yes.
Bedroom warriors
100%.
are-
And they
Yes. I
teach
love
you
that.
how to do
I love
it.
that term.
They
It's a
teach
great
you how to
term.
do it. So he'll do something
That could be
crazy.
a good movie for title for a film. Bedroom Warriors.
No, my new title for a film is going to be something like words dark, darkness, something like
Dark?
that.
Wow, I could
Bedroom
never have
Warriors
guessed.
is a
I know,
Stay tuned to this podcast
I
for when it comes
know.
out.
Bedroom
Yeah, I
Warriors.
never could have
Yeah.
guessed that you
In
would
the
talk
darkness.
about
Yeah,
the
darkness,
bass
you
players
dark-
and,
yeah.
and
Well, that's just one element.
yeah.
Don't get me on
exactly.
cutting. Don't
Thank
get me
you.
on cutting up beats.
Thank you. One element. So me
Well, I
is
know.
just one element.
Well, darkness and light, right?
Thank you.
So light, darkness.
How about this one for a nerd question? What was the first earliest memory of a piece of film or something you watched that was really captivating that definitely informs who you are
Maybe
today?
when you were a child. or something that changed your life when you were a kid? That the story.
One of the first movies that I actually remember was Last Tango in Paris, which is interesting because
Wait,
in
how old were
most
you when you watched
countries-
that?
Very young.
Very young.
Very young. I was 6 or 7.
You weren't supposed to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Okay, and I have a problem. I really have a problem with this.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that that type of censorship should be allowed. I don't believe in that. I think that children should have access to the literature that's not meant for them, and the music that's not meant for them, and any type of art that's not meant for them.
That's very
Tell Tipper
controversial.
more that.
I'm sorry. This is what I believe in, and
No,
if
I
I
love
had
it.
kids, I would totally expose them to that.
Do you think that they should be guided though? Like somebody should be there, like to talk about what they're seeing, or to just watch it?
I don't know if should be
Crude.
guided. I mean, I was there watching with my family,
Okay.
and nobody was explaining anything to me, and that was okay for me. I didn't understand everything, but I was actually forming my own opinions of it, and I think that's very crucial to your intellectual and emotional growth and being. That really helped me. I had an aunt who was everything to me. I grew up with her, and she was the first feminist in my life. And I learned so much through her. There was no censorship of any kind. We could talk about anything at any stage, and she would kind of adjust it to my age, but nothing was forbidden. And I love that concept. I hate that here everything's like R-rated, or kids are not supposed to be thinking, or they are thinking about it without you knowing. They're exposed to it
They're
one
talking
way
to
or
it.
another.
They're talking about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're
They
talking about
know about all these subjects, whether you know about it or not. So I think it's ridiculous of you to actually undermine kids so much.
Maybe what you're trying to say is that, or what you're one thing that I might agree upon is that when you make it like taboo for kids, they're gonna be more interested.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They're gonna make it.
Absolutely.
They're gonna think something's wrong there, but they don't know why they're making such a fuss out of it. About it.
But when you make it a taboo, it actually becomes an addiction.
Yeah.
And that's where the problem is created, right? For me, there were
makes
no
them
forbidden
curious.
books, you know? It was like, oh, what is that on the upper shelf? Oh, it's a sex subject.
Yeah.
Let's bring it down.
Kama Sutra.
You can talk, yeah, exactly. But why not? I mean, like, violence is so readily accessible
Yeah.
in this country.
Violence is everywhere. Yeah.
Exactly. But like love and sex is not. Why?
Yeah.
Like, I never understood that. And you come from a culture where it's the opposite, and I come from a culture where it's the opposite.
I just think that parents don't want their kids getting pregnant too early.
No, but
don't look at that.
actually that made me, no, that's not true. That made me actually way more careful. I was more romantic about it. I was more like, oh, I will actually wait until I have sex to have a meaningful type of intimate relationship with. You know, it's,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see
Yeah,
that.
Because
I
this
see
country
the logic.
is a deficit in teaching kids critical thinking and being able to ask the right questions or open up the conversations of what this might mean, so that taboo doesn't become, so held as something that's got to be shielded. But it's like, we want to breed kids to be able to think for themselves, as like healthy individuals.
So this is great that we're talking about this, because it might seem off subject, but it's actually on subject, because the movies actually has some erotic scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you recommend the rating on your movie should be? Like,
There's
kids-
no rating. That's the thing. I don't believe in the fucking rating. I have a problem with it.
They made a whole movie about the rating system, which was
I know.
really interesting.
I didn't watch it,
Oh,
but
you
I
would
know.
love it.
I know
It's
about it.
really spooky and weird. I mean, it's really weird. Did you see the rating movie, the R thing about how they rate the movies?
Yeah, they have like a
Diane,
whole bunch
darling.
of Puritans.
Yeah, it's
They
like
have a bunch of
really
Puritans, like just
so weird.
Some
I
wine?
never knew. Yeah.
that was
Well-
like a religious thing. It was like all
Yeah.
like religious and
Well, the church did a
church-
huge
yeah.
thing at being this mediator. towards what was able to, be seen and whatnot too.
Yeah.
Which is why Cinema Paradiso.
Like with religion, taboo is sex, but like
It's one of my
burning
favorite
people at the
movies
stake.
that
of
part,
all time.
that part
Of
is
all
really-
time.
In the front, in the square of the town.
Right.
So that's
Or the Romans, they did
Yeah.
crazy stuff.
But
too.
it's a way of controlling people. Actually, it's a way of controlling. That's what I think. They control what people think about sex, but they show violence because they want to impose fear on people. Mm-hmm. So it's a way of control. That's what I think. Like they burn people at the stake. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Prosecco.
Diane.
Oh,
Thanks, Diane.
You have to open it, babes.
let me try.
Well, maybe Adam Evaniv was like the proto MPAA then, in terms of like, what you can't bite up to understand yourself by.
Okay,
so-
but like, how did the R rating come about? Why?
like who decided?
Yeah.
It was a church
Yeah.
group. I think. It was a church group.
It was
Oh my
completely.
God.
But I love that you don't want your film to be rated. I think that's.
I
part of-
don't.
yeah.
I don't.
I think that
Eventually,
is.
it's gonna be rated.
I
That's
know.
that-
I
yeah.
understand that,
Yeah.
but I really don't
So
want to.
NC-17 or what do we
Yes.
go with?
I mean,
Like,
I don't even know what that
No,
that
what's
is.
it?
What is that?
Hard. No, it should be like I don't know. I would rate it PG-13.
A
Like,
PG-13?
I would go soft on it, even though
Yeah.
there's like I don't know,
Really? I mean, there's nothing showing. I mean, you can see my breasts, and we're smoking,
And I think
and we're
that's great. I
swearing
think
maybe
that's great.
sometimes. Okay,
However,
okay, but
you know,
this
like
is
how
the
people are here. you know.
Right. So that's
So
what.
if there's
'cause-
new-
okay. This is the
They're gonna
thing. Like in
Right. you
Oldenburg
want the
Film
lower
Festival.
rating, right?
Yeah,
You want the
you
lower.
But
wanna-
wait.
you want to fight for the PG-13,
Yeah,
even though
right.
it's just like breasts, but it's
Right.
it's a family wholesome film.
No, it's
they're-
not. It's not. It's not. It's absolutely not. That's not what we're going for.
I'm trying to help you here.
No. Okay, so I have to
I'm
tell you
alone with
this.
you,
Like
pray
when
it
we
off.
were, our premiere was at the Oldenburg Film Festival, and Guillaume's entire family was there, meaning a 6-year-old child and a 4-year-old child. I'm guessing, but I think those are the ages. They were there for the premiere, and they watched the entire film.
They hadn't before.
Because they're part of the film,
Yeah.
and also because we don't fucking care. It's normal for them to see a fucking breast.
Yeah.
It's normal for them to like see a person swearing. It's not. It's abnormal for me to have those things taken away and for them to be shielded from that.
I understand.
Do
I'm
I
trying to
make
help you here. I'm
sense?
saying
Does it
it's
make
wholesome family film. It should be
It's
rated
not a
PG.
wholesome film. It's absolutely everything
I'm
against
trying to help
that.
you so you get a lower rating so more people watch it.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't care. Honestly, I just want the right people to watch it. I never make films for the masses. I make films for the like-minded people that will find themselves connected to it, and will get inspired and want to do a same or even better thing. I don't want a lot of people watching this film.
You don't want it to go mainstream.
No, absolutely not. I want it to actually go
Although
into
it
the
would
right.
be great. It would be great if it goes mainstream.
it
more
would-
people
it
watch
would
it.
be.
If it becomes Heathers, I'm totally for that. If it becomes like Living in Oblivion,
Yeah,
I
there
am
you go.
all for
Yeah.
that.
About Donnie
Look at it this
Darko.
way: if it goes mainstream, you could get finance for your next feature film.
I will get finance for my next feature film.
Okay, I love your confidence. That's great. that's the way you gotta think. Yeah.
100%.
Right. Cheers for that.
Yes. Can we all cheer?
Yeah.
I'll pour a little bit.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I wasn't drinking, but I'll do a little
Cheers.
bit just for the cheers.
Cheers.
Okay. To
Cheers.
films.
So it's a great film. Everybody has to
Thank
watch
you.
it.
Everyone has to watch it. I will fucking force it.
Yeah. Rated G, general
Yeah,
audience.
it's the next Bambi.
There's no
kids.
rating to this
It's
film.
Bambi. It's Bambi. It's Bambi in a hot tub.
It's the Princess
Yeah,
Bride in a hot tub.
Yeah.
So wait, Bambi doesn't have a rating?
Princess Bride.
Bambi's rated G, even though they kill her mom.
Yeah,
It's
even though there's
traumatic.
all that death
One-
and trauma in
Yeah,
there.
they killed Bambi's mom. Is
Oh
rated
no,
G.
killing's okay. Sex is not okay.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so
Let's go
weird.
back
They should
to
have.
like.
They should have shown Bambi's mom having sex. Right.
The
That would've been
creation
interesting.
story.
Conceiving Bambi. Yeah.
Conceiving Bambi.
Yeah.
The prequel.
That's the prequel.
The
Yeah,
prequel, yeah.
exactly.
It should be rated G.
This is getting into a different territory altogether.
We're still talking about the film and about censorship now. Censorship rules. So, any advice for future creators? I also besides
Yes,
talking about
make
nerds.
a lot of mistakes.
Great.
Make mistakes. Don't be afraid if you don't have enough funding or the funding that is desirable for you.
Set deadlines. Set deadlines.
Yes,
for God's sake.
but also
So you have to
break
finish
the
by this-
rules. Okay, so
Yeah.
so learn the rules so that you can break them.
Learn the rules. Set that. Okay. Learn the rules. Break the rules, except for the deadline rule.
No, the deadline can get broken, but
But at least you have a
start by set one to
exactly.
break.
Yeah,
Set
yeah.
a deadline to break.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You need pressure. You need to make
You do,
decisions.
you do,
Because
you
we
do,
can
you
spin
do.
in the artistic oblivion forever, like especially now with computers and with all the amazing things that we can do.
Yeah, yeah.
And even now, even the last 2 years with the phone and the filters and the editing, it's getting insane. We can do so much. So now it's about the story. It's getting back. And what did you say now? It's even about the
100%,
writing even
100%,
more. The
100%.
writing needs to be great, writing.
Yes, the writing itself, it needs to be great from the beginning. But I also, and we discussed this before, it changes, and you should allow it to change from the page to the production,
The
and
interpretation,
especially
the
to
actors,
everything, but especially to the editing room.
The editing.
It
The
gets
editor-
life. It really like breathes in the life into the project in the editing room. No matter what you have,
the
you
editor is
manipulate
the final writer. The editor is-
100%. For me, yes.
To speak
But
to
you
that.
also have to have material for it,
Yeah.
So allow yourself to make mistakes, to go for different cuts, for
Overplay.
something that you exactly like. Take a different approach to this. Just be open to happy accidents, to be creative. Don't be limited just by, okay, I didn't get the funding that I wanted, I didn't get the support that I wanted, and whatever. Like, that's really not important. You will actually find it along the way. Just fucking do it.
Use what you got. And,
Yes.
and be wildly
Believe in
wildly
the story
resourceful.
itself. Believe in the idea, because it will come across at some point.
The story is so important.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
it's
And also
neat.
who you attach to the project, because they have to bring that heart and soul. They also have to have
The right
the
actors
same,
to tell the story. And,
the same sensibilities,
Right.
right?
Okay, and some advice for musicians that are maybe listening to us.
Same.
The same thing.
Same
Same thing. Use what you got. I mean, like,
And mistakes
happy
are
things come
great.
out of
Yeah.
being.
and like, if you feel like you're limited, that actually frees you up so much to do other things.
Awesome. So, finishing up, let's give us your social media so people can start following you, listen to your music, listen to your bass playing, your singing and acting and directing and writing and all the hats you have.
Thank you so much. Can I
And
just
yeah,
say,
thank you
like,
for
thank
having
you so
us.
much for
Steve,
having
this was
us.
such
No, it
a
was my
pleasure being
pleasure. For me, it was exciting and it was a great talk.
You're such an amazing host. You're such an amazing narrator and a moderator, and I really am happy that we were here all together.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
This
Thank
place
you,
is really
everybody
great.
that
We're honored that we
participated
get
in
to
this.
be part of the
Well, you-
eclectic content that you put out. So
Well, you guys are welcome. Especially, we're waiting for you. You guys. Okay, the deadline is a month from now. You guys should be playing here.
Set the show date.
yeah,
Fuck
we'll get
yeah.
some stuff together.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay. So give us your social media. Maybe say it at the camera.
Ed Misorievo. I don't know if you're gonna know how to spell this.
We'll spell it later with the credits.
At Kid Nistra, KIDNISTRAH.
I knew it was gonna happen. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
Okay.
The party's just getting started.
Yeah, it's just
I know. I
Champagne was
know.
really good.
I'm that
Yeah.
person.
You ready? say yours again.
Say yours again, yeah.
At Kid Nistra, KIDNISTRAH.
Okay.
I'm at Jonathan Burkes, JONATHANBURX on Instagram, and then you just
All right. So we're looking forward to listening more from Le Petite Mort, and I really recommend the movie whenever I'm alone with you. Please stay tuned, subscribe to Nerdopolitan for more amazing content like this, like the interview we had today. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Andres is amazing. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Subscribe.
Thank you for having us.
Peace.
Woo!